Morning, everybody. This is Michael Bergamo.
Trey Hayden, good morning.
This is episode number 3 of Updates and Patches. We hope you guys are doing well. We wanted to get right into it today. We're going fishing on episode 3. In today's wonderful landscape of business and communications, email has won. Text message is close on its heels, but today email is the #1 king of communication. In an office, interpersonal, it doesn't matter. If your customers are trying to get a hold of you, every website in the world sends you to a contact page. Everything that asks something of your customers, you're going to send them back through email. So that platform has obviously won, is winning, and now because it is so popular, everybody's after it as a means to take advantage of you. It's just the way the world is. So what we have to do as technologists is bring awareness to that. And we really wanted to share some stories with you today from customers, from clients, from friends that really has kind of boiled up to the top, which is I'm getting an enormous amount of these messages that look very official from people in my company, leaders of my company, that are all asking me for really, really intense things like money and gift cards and oh my gosh, how does all this happen? Would you guys talk about that? So that's what I wanted to talk about with you today. Good morning, Trey.
Morning.
All right. We really do enjoy doing these with you guys, and we do appreciate any feedback you have. So if you have a minute and you have a question for the next episode, please let me know down below. We'll get to them. So talking about phishing, we've kind of gone over the criticality of email. We understand, that this is not going to really go away, but we do see this huge influx of people that are people. We assume people, but messages in our inbox that are asking for really, really intense things that aren't necessary for these people to have, and we're scared. We want to have an understanding of what that is and how it's happening. And I think more than anything, I get the question of they understand generally that there are messages from people that aren't those people, but how in the world do they look so convincing? You've seen the message, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Dear so and so, I am the CEO of your corporation, and I need you to run to 7-Eleven this afternoon and give me some Amazon gift cards. What is that about? How do they look so realistic?
Well, let's not forget that the structure of your company is typically pretty easy to find online, right? So if you have a LinkedIn presence, either as a business or personally, and then you've listed your employer and then all of your coworkers have listed their employer, then I can take a piece of paper and a pencil and pretty much sketch out who the team is and start to craft messages that look like they're coming from one team member to another. Your past history on LinkedIn or Facebook or any of those places that have you logged is going to show whether you were a CFO. Okay, so you probably had something to do with the money. I can work backwards from there and figure out exactly what I want to craft.
And it is interesting. A lot of times we've had messages forwarded to us. A lot of times customers will be sitting in a meeting and say, I just got this email from the person I'm sitting across from, but it's got his email address, her email address, whatever it is, their signature, the whole thing. It looks very official. How in the world do they get it to look like that person? And I'm setting the question up, but we'll talk about it in the next episode for sure. But spoofing, this is the technology behind no more different than me putting a mask on to pretend I'm somebody else. You can see that I'm wearing a mask digitally, but from the outset, if I'm just scrolling through my inbox at 100 miles an hour looking for Trey Hayden CEO in my inbox and say, oh, I got a message from Trey, I wonder what he wants, you're immediately going to click on it, you're immediately going to read it, and whatever the request is, short, small, long, doesn't matter, you as the diligent person want to carry that message out. When do I need to pause break on these emails and say, hold on, this is weird?
Yeah, if it looks out of character for the person, if it doesn't have like their typical email signature, which sometimes has a company logo, a lot of these phishing ones are simply just text. But if it's out of character, you want to ask the question. You want to pick up the phone and give that person a call, or you want to craft a new email. You don't want to respond to the one that was sent. You want to send a new one to the address that you know is correct and say, hey, I just got a different email from you asking me to do X, Y, or Z. Can you confirm that that was you? People are used to seeing a few of those from time to time now, so don't be embarrassed or ashamed to send that just as confirmation, because we're talking sometimes, bigger dollar figures here. So it's
Right.
much better to confirm that it's an accurate request versus take a chance that it isn't.
Absolutely. A lot of times, a lot of our audience not necessarily directly, working for a company. Sometimes they're working for themselves, and they don't have the rights and abilities to either lean on other staff members or really bounce that stuff off of anybody. In fact, the most recent one, some of you may have already gotten the email we got, was for the SBA loan.
Yeah.
Which was not from an internal person at all. It was actually, God, I can't believe people do this, but this was, a business owner looking for help financially to get through, the pandemic and look for funding to secure their business. They got an email back, very official looking, with only one or two things out of place. I think the footer included, follow us on Twitter. Follow our Instagram page. This was from a .gov.
Yeah.
Just made no sense whatsoever. And they called and said, I really don't have anyone else to ask. Would you look at this? And so we hit the break. We said, please don't forward that to anybody. Please let me take a look at it as the ball lies, as they say. We were able to move that message to a secure computer where it had no chance to reach anything else. And in our kind of our bomb testing facility, see that thing had a piece of ransomware attached to it. It had other things in it that gave it away. But on the outset, it looked absolutely harmless.
Yeah.
In a moment of somebody looking for help.
Well, just remember that when you set up an email account, that display name field that you get is free text, right? So you don't have to put your own name in there. You can put any name in there that you want. Our filtering systems have shown a ton of activity around PPP loans, stimulus packages, the SBA, as you mentioned. A lot of that's going on right now that's popular with predators. So if you have a question about that or you need to double check it, call us or call somebody that can confirm that email is accurate before you click any link or execute something from that email in any way.
It is huge. We talk a lot on this channel about technology and building systems around problems that we can fix and solve. And there is definitely software and hardware along the lines to keep messages and stuff like that from getting in. But education is 100% the number one greatest way as these things evolve.
Absolutely.
And communicating about it.
Absolutely.
As these platforms change, as the messages get really, really detailed, really elaborate schemes and scams, they boil to the top. And the beauty of all of this, if there is any silver lining, is that they repeat everything they do. So as soon as we see one, we know we got it. We understand what it looks like. We understand the threads, the threats that they make. If you don't do this, then we're going to do this. We see it all day long, so that when we get a phone call, very quick phone call to say, hey, I just got something I didn't ask for. What do I do with it? Same rules apply in life. If you didn't ask for it, don't take it.
Right.
We can't stress that enough. So we are offering that obviously all day, every day as a service, just a consultant to say, what is this? What should I do with it next? And we play every ball as it falls on the field. We want to make sure that we're consulting with you appropriately for that message. If it's got attachments, if it's asking for anything, we want to make certain that that's not always a challenge for you in the future, of course, but we want to bring you the education.
Yes, and if you're the owner of the business, a manager in the business, you can count on the fact that phishing email was probably sent to more people on your team than just you. So when you see it, it's important to act on it so that we can hopefully stop anything that may occur in the rest of the team.
Yep. And a lot of times we've had a chance to sit down with either some of the bigger organizations where there are multiple team members to sit down with. Remember that not everybody on your team is going to get it right away. A lot of this requires follow-up because not every message isn't always delivered in the same way. It's not always the same request. So if there's any hope, there are very clear telltale signs in an email that give it away. So every time it's a little bit different. They're hoping they're going to catch you in a mood. If you bought something on FedEx and you're expecting that email to come tell you that life is great, that thing is sitting outside your door, you're going to open it every single time. But if you haven't opened anything or you haven't purchased anything online, when that should click and say, well, I haven't ordered anything, maybe I shouldn't click on this. Because these messages are not always the Nigerian prince that's asking for $1 million to save his family. That stuff has happened. Now it's really specific, like Amazon deliveries. And if you've ordered something from pets.com, we have the ability to train against those very real life scenarios so that when your people come clicking and doing whatever they do inside email, that they at least have some pause to say, I just had training on this. Maybe I shouldn't.
Yeah. And training is really the answer, as Michael said before, the education around this. So we've got tools that will allow us to craft some messages that look safe but aren't. But if one of your users were to click on that or interact with that email in any way, shape, or form, it lets them know that, hey, this was a test, and we need you to take a look at this information here to help educate you on why you shouldn't click on things that look like this.
Right. We just want to put everybody in the best position forward.
Right.
When it comes to email, we understand that these things are going to be iterative, and they're going to come and go, and things are going to change inside of the way those messages are delivered, and they're going to be scanned differently, and the messages are going to change. And as we get stronger, everyone else does too. We always want to be on the forefront of that, and that's our job. At the end of the day, we're here for you to make sure that as these threats and changes, kind of either make their upward curve or new things come in its place, that we're here to let you know. And we always encourage partners, even new customers, people that don't know us yet, to engage. We offer definitive free email, general security input and advice for free if you sign up for our newsletter. It's on every page of our website at the very bottom. If you commit to your email address and a first name and you send that to me, it comes straight here. We're developing that content to deliver to those folks because we want you to know. We want you to have that awareness as new things happen. And if you talk to anybody on that list, they will tell you, we don't spam you to death. We don't send out something every 3 hours. When there's good, bad, or indifferent news, things that we know you need to know, we're going to share that with you. And of course, it's opt out anytime. So please, if that is interesting to you, go sign up today. I'll leave a link as well to that at the bottom. We want to help, and that at the end of the day, there's no chance that we can go to one central location and get the information that we need. CodeBlue wants to be that for you. So if I may, episode number 3 is in the can. This has been a lot of fun. We understand these topics are not always bright and colorful, but they are important. We do feel like generating the need, of course, by letting you know that this is available. This is something that CodeBlue takes care of for you. So if you need anything, by all means, I want you to call me today, 804-521-7660 all day long. You can get in touch with us or any of our wonderful sales associates here that are going to help you craft that solution for your business. This has been Updates and Patches number 3. We hope you guys have a tremendous week, an awesome week. If we can help you in any way, please let me know.